Okay, let's do this, right? Happy Wednesday. Hey now. Yesterday we looked at Mendelssohn, got the great German Jewish composer, wrote all that music before 20 and made us all look bad, feel bad. And then your film scoring assignment, which the results are in. I can't wait to share that with you for Fantasia, the Disney film. We're going to see that on Friday. Today is going to be so much fun, at least for me, and that's really what's most important. As long as I'm having fun and interested, I'll continue to be excited and happy. Obviously, you know that I'm not really serious about that. This is enjoyment for all of us. And it should be, because we're going to talk about somebody who's so important to not just me and my dad and my uncle, but to the jazz world. Somebody who died way too young and was such a good soul, it seemed like, but most importantly, a brilliant, brilliant trumpet player. That's why we're going to be talking about him today. We're going to be looking at the genius Clifford Brown. So if you remember a few months ago, we talked about Lee Morgan. Lee Morgan was kind of a hard bop trumpet player, right? So Louis Armstrong's doing Dixieland. Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie going to bebop in the 40s, and then in the 50s, 60s, you get something called hard bop. I mean, for the most part, it's jazz, okay? But we need to categorize the world in order to render it to make sense to us. So Clifford Brown's one of the early transition people from bebop to hard bop, and Lee Morgan was hugely influenced. I mean, he changed all of jazz music for the most part, but definitely jazz trumpet playing forever. He was born in 1930 from Delaware. So let's go over to Delaware and see where that is on the map. I also do these maps because I'm not very good at geography, and it's really cool. I mean, I guess it's on the East Coast, right? So Delaware, and then, okay, so he is born into a musical family, and around 10 starts playing trumpet. And his dad gets some private lessons, classical lessons, and one of his early influences is Fats Navarro. Fats Navarro was definitely somebody who was a bebop trumpet player, but also had a different kind of tone, and that tone was something that Clifford Brown really embellished and made melodic. So Clifford Brown goes to Delaware State University to study math. He was wanted to be a mathematician, or at least was really good at math. When he was touring with Lionel Hampton, he would calculate the exchange rates in its head for the band, so that came in useful as a math guy. And he got in a really bad car accident where a few other people died, and he was severely injured, put a damper on his life and his playing as a player, as a trumpet player, but recovered. Dizzy Gillespie was somebody who really, if you remember, Lee Morgan was in Dizzy Gillespie's band, and Dizzy got his career started. Well, Dizzy also did the same with Clifford Brown and said, you're too good. You have to do a career in music. You have to recover, get better, and you got something very special. So Dizzy was a huge influence on him getting better and becoming a trumpet player. And because of that, so in the 50s, he starts making records in New York, and he's super. I mean, when he came on the scene, he was blowing everybody away. And then with Max Roach, who's a famous drummer, they formed a quintet in Los Angeles. I guess we'll just get to it. He dies at 25. That's the elephant in the room. In 1956. So he's playing with Bud Powell, the piano player that we talked about, his younger brother Richie Powell. Richie Powell's wife was driving, and it was raining, and it was they were going to Chicago for their next appearance. So Powell's wife was at the wheel, and so Richie and Clifford could sleep, and it was raining, and on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, just west of Bedford. She lost control of the car and it went off the road. So it killed all of them. I'm saying that now because I don't really want this class to be a downer. It was a terrible loss. This guy, according to many people, was such a sweet guy. Never drank, never did drugs, didn't smoke, a true gentleman, got married 2 years before, in LA. So he met LaRue Anderson, and she was actually writing a thesis on why jazz was not serious music. And after meeting Clifford Brown, they fell in love, and then she changed her mind that jazz was serious music. So it's kind of funny, out of all the people that he would be attracted to, she's actually writing a thesis on that. A lot of people thought that about jazz, definitely in the 20th century, in the mid-20th century, that all this kind of nonsense music, this kind of confusing, fast-paced music was not very serious, when indeed they were wrong. It was highly intelligent, highly serious music going on. It wasn't just a lot of notes going on. What are we hearing here? I mean, he sounds like a classical trumpet player playing jazz music, because if you listen, what I love, listen to his tonguing. So when you play the trumpet, you put your tongue in the mouthpiece, right? So you go toot, 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 and there's double tonguing, so you can go toot, 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 toot. You can do this yourself. You can play along at home. But the way he's tonguing every single note is really hard. So listen how fast he's playing. All of that is tongued independently, single-tongued. That's why each note is brilliantly articulated instead of decka, 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 which is fine. But he's going do, 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 do. I mean, I can't even do that, and he's got a brass instrument doing that. Okay, so great tonguing, huge brass sound. He's got that Louis Armstrong, Roy Eldridge brassy sound. Now he's going on, oh shoot, I forgot our timeline. Look at when he's going on. So he's going on, 50s mostly. And he's around, Miles Davis is going around, around this time. He sounds nothing like Miles. Listen to Miles if you remember Miles. Miles was an innovator. He was a genius. He was an innovator. He wasn't technically as great of a trumpet player as Clifford, and he would admit that. I think people would. Clifford was a masterful technician, but also hugely melodic. What are we hearing? Is it just random notes? No, right? But okay, but what do I mean by that? if it's not random notes, it sounds like a lot of notes. So so what is he doing? Just take a, so we know chords, right? Music is based on chords and chord changes. Look at his solo in Joy Spring and take a listen. We're going to look at it. A lot of jazz soloing is and a lot of these notes are, in a simplistic way, outlining chords. So if you look at measure 10, B flat minor 7, it's that those notes are B flat, D flat, F, A flat. That's a B flat minor chord. So look, so we have the B flat, we have the A flat, we have the G, which is not part of a B flat minor chord, but that's just passing. Some of these are passing tones. He's going back to the A flat, and then look at the next chord. It's an E flat 7 chord. So an E flat chord is E flat, G, B flat, and D flat, right? Okay, so let's see what he's got. He's got an E natural. That's not even part of the chord. That's where he's starting on. E natural, already pretty scandalous. E flat, part of the chord. D flat, which is the 7th, and then B flat, which is the 5th. Okay, so just that measure, it goes by so fast. Just that measure. So this is how soloing works. You're outlining the chord, but you're not outlining it where it sounds, because that would be really boring if you just played all the notes of the chord in every measure. That's how you start soloing. You need to learn all of those. And then you need to learn how to do the notes in between to get it to make it sound, it's a passageway. And a lot of his soloing was developing very long passages that were super melodic, almost like their own compositions. So they're just not little solos. They're almost like their own little songs, little symphonies where he's telling a story through his solo. So did he get this way just because he was born great? No, he worked so hard at this, perfecting his skills. I mean, band members would say he'd be up at 6 o'clock in the morning on a tour bus practicing his scales, he says they'd have breakfast, Clifford would be practicing. He would do lip exercises, mouth exercises all day. It goes to show you how much work is put into sounding this great. You don't just pick up the horn and start playing it. So that's Clifford Brown, one of my favorite musicians of all time. I love Clifford Brown. I love him. And you must love him too. No, it's okay if you don't, but as long as you understand how important he was and what those notes mean, outlining the chords, that's what jazz musicians are doing. And that's just, one measure. I mean, but I just wanted to give you an example because I was thinking the other night, I was like, I wonder if they know what these notes mean. So it's good that we explored this. This was a lot of fun. Okay, tomorrow's going to be fantastic. We might do a little LA tour. We might, I think. I have to look at my schedule. Love you, miss you, and I'll see you tomorrow.